Move on to something that was very, I mean, it's a very minor story. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about it. But Cenk Uygur from like the Young Turks, and also co-founder of the group Justice Democrats. He co-founded that with Kyle Kulinski, and they are the group responsible for elections of, the Squad, Cori Bush, who was the first Justice Democrat, and also Jamal Bowman, as well as people like Ro Khanna, Pramila Jayapal, and like they're not the only like progressive group out there with members in Congress, but they're one of the bigger ones, and it only was started back in 2016, and its first members were elected in 2017. Or like they went to office in 2017. So anyway, Cenk Uygur not too long ago was running in California's 25th district to replace Katie Hill, who quit after a big like sex photo scandal. And she was running, he was running in the special election. He lost the primary, which was on March 3rd, pretty handily. But then like the person who, the Democrat who did win, like the Democrat who did progress to the final election, Christy Smith, who was like, she was the one who had all like the big endorsements, like Pelosi, Kamala Harris, just to name a couple. She lost pretty handily too. So like, it was the idea.
Yeah, and that's where the Republican was the first Republican in like decades to get elected.
No, like that district was red before Katie Hill was there. And I think Katie Hill was elected through the midterms, I believe. I think so. But anyway, so Cenk Uygur was unsuccessful in his campaign, but he's using a lot of those resources, and he's teaming up with someone else to and using resources from her campaign as well to help other progressives. And he formed something called the Rebellion PAC. The idea is to, basically like Justice Democrats, to promote, progressives who are taking on corporate Democrats. Very, very similar to Justice Democrats, but it is a little bit different. But, because this is not, it's different because this is not a main focus. Like, this is not like the only focus of Rebellion PAC, because, as we're going to see with this ad that I'm about to show, it's gonna, like Cenk Uygur said, that the first target of Rebellion PAC is Donald Trump, because it is Cenk Uygur's belief that we have to get rid of Trump first. So that does mean voting for Biden. We have to get rid of Trump first, and then we can, then we're gonna go super hard on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and demand better from them. So I'm gonna show you this ad, and like the tagline is "Wake up."
It's time to wake up.
Going to begin tonight with the president just moments ago saying schools must open in this country.
The country is now rolling back plans.
Thousands of heavily armed soldiers
would undermine our Ukraine policy.
The articles of impeachment. He fell in love. Let him die slowly. I alone can fix it.
It's time to wake up.
Indelible in the hippocampus is the laughter.
Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States.
This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period.
Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative facts.
Regardless of recommendation, I was going to fire Comey.
I don't remember as much as I would like to.
This Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
The trauma-related experience then is kind of locked there, whereas other details kind of drift.
What neighborhood was it in? I don't know. Where's the house? I don't know. Upstairs, downstairs, where was it? I don't know.
I am proud to shut down the government. I will be the one to shut it down.
We don't use cages for children in the border facilities.
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it.
A U.S. military spokesman says it has pulled out of Manbij, Syria, to make way for Russian-backed Syrian forces who have have taken over the abandoned U.S. base.
It's under control.
Well, how? 1,000 Americans are dying a day.
They are dying. That's true. It is what it is.
We've all gone numb to survive the last 4 years. But it's time to wake up. It's time to fight back. Vote in 2020 like your life depends on it.
Definitely, I think it was a pretty good ad. Of course, it has bias and it's anti-Trump.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing because it's going to help a lot of those voters that feel like they're not for Kamala and Biden or Trump or Pence, and they can actually trust him because they know that he's against both of them and he criticizes both of them.
Yeah.
And they know that he isn't just a mule for the Democratic Party doing this.
Yeah.
I thought it was a very good. I think it does a good job. Really, I think it emphasizes how we've all gone numb. You know, it is like a different news story about Trump every day or every week that with any other president in their career. I think it does a good job of. You know, I like how it goes back in time, how it starts with what's happening now, and then goes back to like the Comey stuff, and I think it's just a very good reminder of what we've all been living through, and it gets the viewer to see it from an outside perspective.
Some of like the thing is like it goes back to that sentiment of being numb because of like how often like these things happen under Trump. You know, some of the things that were referenced in that ad, like some of them I've forgotten about.
Yeah.
You know, like the alternative.
I forgot about.
I mean, firing the FBI directors arguably what and other people's arguably what tanked Nixon in the end. But Trump was able to do it without consequences.
Nixon didn't fire the FBI director. He fired the special prosecutor that was investigating.
Well, he fired a lot of people.
He fired some.
Name for it. It's like
the special prosecutor was the straw that broke the
camel's
camel's back, I think.
Yeah.
And like, what were you gonna say, Malcolm?
Yeah, he fired some inspector generals too. Like.
Yeah. But
so it's
I
similar to him, like Trump.
I think
Trump he
like
fired.
Sorry.
Yeah, like Trump he recently fired an inspector general. Like it was big.
Yeah.
Like I think
Trump has fired so many people.
Yeah, like many people that oppose him or testified against him.
I think like, Miller is the only one who's still there that was in his original administration, right? Stephen Miller?
Yeah.
Every single other person who's in his original administration.
Well, no, there's also like Ben Carson, Rick Perry, Betsy DeVos.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Yeah, those people. Yeah. But like those people really haven't said much though.
Yeah, that's typically the people who have more public profiles.
Yeah.
And you can't fire Pence, but then Pence has been his lapdog. You know.
Yeah.
Trump makes fun of Pence all the time. I mean, there are leaked stories all the time of him like giving him shit about his religion and stuff.
Like, yes, sir, please, sir, may I have another? Yeah. Like that's pretty much. That's pretty much
it.
Yeah.
Then remember, he attacked the Fed chairman about zero interest rates. He wanted zero interest rates for the economy. Like that was the first time in history a president has openly attacked the Fed.
Right. That was a big story. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing I think
big stories for like a day or two or maybe 3 days before the next big story happens. And I think this ad does a good job of conveying that.
Yeah. And I think it's a good thing that these are the kind of groups, you know, like that push the sentiment settle for Biden. You know, like I have issues with the word settle because it is way too often used to say just suck it up.
You know, like shut up, don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
But the thing is, there's an actual group called Settle for Biden, and then there's also this one, and then others.
I thought it was a joke the first time I saw it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought it was like
no.
But it's an actual group.
Yeah. It's just pathetic.
But it's like these that will actually like get progressives to vote for Biden because like, you know, other people try to like, you know, serve me shit and call it fudge, you know, and say like, oh, Biden is going to be the most progressive president in history. No, he's not. Let's not. But like it's these groups that
I saw someone say that Kamala Harris would be the most progressive VP in history, which
She has the potential to be, but again, that's a very low bar. That's a very low bar.
But, I mean, her history doesn't show.
Lyndon Johnson as the VP, you know, or you could.
Oh yeah, that is true. Yeah, Lyndon Johnson.
I mean, might as well just call Lyndon B. Johnson the most progressive president ever. So.
Well, yeah, like that, and like people like FDR, like.
Yeah, the Democrats before Bill Clinton basically were all more progressive than Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
Yeah, with a couple of exceptions, but like Harry Truman, for example. Like the dude, I think the dude was a KKK member, a KKK sympathizer, and also
was that true?
Very hawkish with Vietnam.
Woodrow Wilson definitely was. I didn't know that Truman was.
But yeah, well, like there was like the Dixiecrats. Like the Dixiecrats were like separate from like they were part of the Democratic Party, but like they left the Democratic Party after the Civil Rights Act. You know, Lyndon Johnson
those are people like Strom Thurmond.
Yeah, George Wallace. That's why Lyndon Johnson famously said after the signing of the Civil Rights Act, we lost the South for a generation. But it's groups like these that are going to win over Biden, like Bernie voters, like but at least like the ones that can be won over, because like they're honest about Biden's record and they're just saying like, yeah, Biden sucks, but Trump is just this bad. Like we really have to vote for Biden. And, I can respect that more than people who try to lie to my face and say that, Biden is, going to be some progressive hero like, Bernie Sanders. I mean, bless his heart, but he said, Biden could be more progressive than FDR. I mean, like he could, but will he? Like, anyway.
Well, the thing that I heard a lot.
No, the thing is FDR did a lot of things to help the people versus Biden. A lot of his policies didn't really help increase the middle class or like regulations or expand government oversight. A lot of Biden's policy actually hurt people.
Yeah. And also like when people say
something that I had been hearing a lot.
Sorry, go ahead.
Something that I had been hearing a lot was that Biden might choose a progressive vice president who would push his administration further to the left. And I think that's why a lot of people are really mad that Kamala Harris was chosen as his VP, because I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but that was a talking point I heard a lot, was that if his VP were a progressive woman, someone like Elizabeth Warren, then, that would be a reason to vote for Joe Biden.
Yeah. But Elizabeth Warren has kind of fallen out of favor with the progressive community ever since that whole debacle before Iowa. Anyway,
I didn't mean to imply that she wasn't progressive. That was in the talking points that I heard.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to another story.